and economic summit, like I advertised earlier. And the reason why, several reasons, several reasons. Apart from the fact that we are looking at the various events to mark the 1 year in office of His Excellency Governor Siminalayi, we're also looking at how development can soar in Rivers State, and that's basically why we have this show, Hard Facts. All right. So joining me on my conversation this afternoon, a former commissioner. He served as commissioner for information, served as commissioner for housing as well, and right now he is the chairman, Media and Publicity Subcommittee, Rivers State Investment and Economic Summit. I'm talking about Okah. It's good to have you on the show, and good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, my brother. Good afternoon, listeners.
All right, welcome. So I would like to start with my very first question. Before we talk about economic summit and investment, what is the current state of investment in Rivers State? Because, one of the major conversations will be, we don't have as much investments as we should, or investments are leaving the state. Is that an accurate perception of the current state of investments? You're the chairman of the subcommittee, so I'd like to hear from you. Let's start from there.
Well, thank you very much. Clearly, it's a lot easier to appreciate that the current level of investment in Rivers State has not hit the kind of mark that it should. And for that reason, that is why it's been thought wise to, convoke this summit, so as to raise the expected tempo and stimulate, ideas, and going forward, lift the investment profile in the state. And that's the whole idea of the summit in the first place. So we really need to do more. As it were, Rivers State sits oil and gas, so there are natural investments that must flow ordinarily. We have the seaports, we have the airports as well, and also we have a very large market for lots of goods and services. Ordinarily, those investments will be there. But given our economic profile, we believe that we stand taller than we are presently doing, and so the investment summit is expected to raise that consciousness amongst the government functionaries and as well as the people of the state to see how we can come taller than we are currently doing in terms of investment.
Okay, now you've just said the summit will help, bring in investments and take the economy to where it's supposed to be. But can you paint a solid picture of what our investment and economy, or investment portfolio and economy, is supposed to look like? You've talked about oil and gas, you've talked about our richness when it comes to maritime, you've talked about all of these things. But really, what is the river's economic potential? Has it been measured? What indices were used to measure them? Can you educate us?
Well, clearly, the U.S. economy, like I said, ought to be a lot more vibrant than it's doing. If you watch, even in the last 8 years, there was this kind of lead. Less activities, are going on.
Hello, are you there? Okay, so we do have a network interruption. So can you repeat some of the things you've said? Sorry about that. Oh my. All right, so we do have a terrible connection. I would have to reconnect with my guest as it relates to what we're talking about. But yeah, so today we're leaving the politics for a bit, and we're looking at the economic aspect of our society here in Rivers State. so that we can, talk and push the conversation for development as it relates to Rivers State. And as you already know, I'm speaking with Okah, who is the person championing or who's the chairman of the subcommittee when it comes to the Rivers Investment and Economic Summit. All right, so we're reconnecting, and hopefully, yes, we have him back on the line. Welcome back. Can you hear me? The line's still not clear enough. But yeah, I was basically asking what is the potential of Rivers when it comes to investment portfolios and the economy, and what indices are you using to measure? Oh my. We still have a terrible network. All right, we'll go for a quick break. When we do come back, we will see how we can reconnect and then have quality conversation. I hope the network providers will do as well and do justice to the conversation. Just give me a minute, I'll be right back. My guest is very close, very shortly will join us in the studio, so hopefully we will be able to have a robust conversation. But right now, I will go back to the phone, and he and I would have the conversation we've been trying to have. And my question earlier was, he mentioned real estate is not kicking as it should when it relates to investment portfolios and the economy. And right now, I'm asking the question, what is the potential really like? What is it supposed to be? What are we supposed to have been doing if we're living up to our potential economically in terms of investment? And what indices are we using to measure, our supposed investment portfolio or potential, basically? So over to you, and welcome back, Okah.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm saying that the potentials are very loud, but clearly the economy is operating below optimum, and the whole idea of the summit is to be able to raise the bar, in Rivers State. Like I said, we see it on oil and gas. We have existing infrastructure, the ports, both the airports and the seaports. We have the large market for goods and services, as it were, all in Rivers State. And when you have this kind of environment, you will only expect that investors will leverage on that and put in their money in Rivers State to be able to pick the wealth that flows from here. Now take a look at Ansamade industrial area. You will see that long before now, there used to be several factories and industries going on there. Many of them have gone, Michelin, the glass industries, quite a lot of them were there at that time. But really today, you can't find many of those companies. And some of the warehouses in Tansamade are now being used for other purposes than commercial activities. And so it paints a very pathetic situation, which we think shouldn't be the case. Because when you look at other environments like Lagos, Ogun, and all that, you will know that clearly Rivers State is lagging behind, as needs to be done, to raise the investment profile to the point it should really be.
who do we blame? Is it government? Is it the people? Because some narratives say we the people have been hostile to investors. For instance, sometime was it last year, there was a conversation about Dangote wanting to site his refinery in River State a while ago, and certain government apparatus and even community people made it difficult for that to materialize. And I'm believing it happens to many other companies. For instance, the multinationals, the oil multinationals, a lot of them have their headquarters in Lagos. Some of them are even thinking of going selling off some of their properties just to leave the region. Do you think we the people have also contributed, or is it government? What really is the cost? Because we need to understand the cost to be able to find a solution.
Yes, thank you very much. This is a very critical area which this summit, has to look at, as it were. Because you cannot be asking people to come and invest in an environment that is hostile to them and their interest. And so you share the blame. Government has the part of it, and the people also do. As it were, I think that the blessing of oil and gas sometimes turns the cost. And so the people sometimes don't appreciate, what beneficial investment would for them. And so it becomes ridiculous to find a community, chasing away those who want to invest, in their land. And even as we speak, it still happens. It operates. It operates. So it's a difficult thing for investors in River State to put their money here. So the people have to embrace the idea. The people have to embrace the new song. The people have to sit down and appreciate that those who come to invest in their land bring wealth and prosperity to them, and they cannot continue to chase them away. It's a big problem in River State, and that is the reason why a lot of people have refused to come here to do investment. But as it is today, we are possibly at the crossroad, and we now know the reason why we are in the dark, and why the rain is beating us in terms of investment. So I think the summit will clearly put all this together and raise the requisite awareness and consciousness, both on the part of the people and the government.
All right, I would have to
take a new.
I would have to pause. We have a commercial.
Hey folks, ready to take your smartphone and
Batubo. And yes, we would not use the phone lines anymore. I mean, it's terrible. I could not hear my guest very well. And so he has made it into the studio. How he did it, I don't know. I guess I don't know. But you're welcome. It's good to have you, Ima Okah, former commissioner, Rivers State. Or former commissioner again, Rivers State. He served as information commissioner and housing commissioner, and now he is the chairman of the Rivers State Investment and Economic Summit, the subcommittee, I guess. You're welcome into the studio once again.
Thank you.
So just before you appeared, allow me to use that in the studio, we were talking about the attitude of Rivers people towards investors and growing the economy, and we also talked about the governance style as it relates to investments and the economy. I'm wondering, which is it that has made it almost impossible for us to live to our potential when you talk investment portfolios and the economy?
Well, clearly, like I said, it's a combination of factors.
Okay.
The government has a role to play. The people of Rivers State, as well as other extraneous issues. Starting with the third one, look at security. What security had done to Rivers State.
Okay.
At some point, kidnapping became rife, and it was difficult for a lot of expatriates and even investors to come here, and feel safe in Rivers State. So that clearly created an exodus of a lot of investors, and even some of the oil company workers could no longer feel comfortable staying in Rivers State, and they had to go. That was the factor. There's really nothing anybody can do to convince an investor to come to an environment that is not safe. So it's important for the government to prioritize security of lives and property, because that's the only way you can guarantee peace and development when it comes to investment. Then, before I was discussing the attitude of the people. Now, for instance, land is very an important factor in development. Look at a farmer, for instance, a commercial farmer who needs land, to do his agriculture. He comes to a community and seeks several hectares of land or a very large expanse of land, and the chiefs now say, okay, we have land here, we can give to you, right? Land is paid for and all that. And the youths all of a sudden divide themselves into clusters. This one will come today, make a demand, different from the one that will be made tomorrow by another sector, or another section of the youths and all of that. So when you have this kind of clumsy situation, you make it unpredictable, for an investor to target his course, as it were. And then the government policies, this is where government comes in, and it's very critical. Government must be ready, to accept the fact that it has to inconvenience itself a bit. Let me use the word inconvenience in quotes. It has to inconvenience itself a bit. It has to go extra mile. Sometimes displace those who make it difficult for investors to stay. You cannot have a situation where community boys, wherever they are, disturb contractors who are doing jobs. In fact, even when we are doing government projects in Rivers, you have situations where community youths, disturb those projects. And when you consider that these projects are going to be for their benefit, you begin to wonder whose interest they serve. And all they want is just give us some money, and they put in their pocket and leave. And so it's not really a very good thing, to do. So government must come up with very clear policies to tame this monster, and that is why a summit of this nature, it's a wake-up call for everybody.
Okay.
Yeah.
Before we get to the summit and get to understand it proper, there's something I want to ask. And now you've mentioned the youths, and you've mentioned the fact that it's a combination of factors. There's the issue of double taxation. Because you've also mentioned something similar when you were explaining about, you said, so there could be a business, and this one is like now we know the Obiakpo boys, for instance, they're very popular all across the nation, and then you're taking Obiakpo boys are taking, let's say it's in Obiakpo, for instance, and then the government is also taking its own revenue or taxes from the company, and then you have some odd people who believe that they're supposed to also tax these companies. Are we looking at, because you say government must inconvenience itself to be able to displace these people, do you think that is something we'll be able to do, because we've seen several administrations try, but it's been unsuccessful.
It's clearly doable. There's nothing that is impossible here. It is up to the government to say, look, this is the destination I seek to attain, and I will get there. No matter the obstacle that stands on the way, I will clear it and arrive at that destination. So it is to have the will and the vision, to deal with these situations. Like I said, the overall issue is, what do you want? Do you want to eat an omelette? If the answer is yes, you must break an egg.
Okay.
Yeah, you just cannot go and catch fish without touching water. So it's up to you. And that's why this time both the government and the people need to be resensitized to appreciate the circumstances that we find ourselves in today, and then ask ourselves the question, what do we want and where do we want to go to? We know where we were yesterday. We know where states like Lagos, and even here, they're not doing well. So do we want to be where we are? Are we comfortable where we are? Or we make a difference in the lives of our true iteration of economic activities that will growth and demand? So if the answer is yes, then we'll do everything that is to achieve that goal. I think that charity is something that is attainable.
Okay. Yep. So let's talk about proper River State Investment Economic, am I right?
Yes.
I got it correctly.
Yes.
It will happen Wednesday and Thursday. So what does it entail? What is it all about? What should people expect from such?
Well, generally, the River Economic and Investment Summit, a meeting. We want to evaluate our circumstances and the situation and profile the way forward. That's all. And we're able to instead, in this direction.
Who are you to big people, business? Are you capping the micro, medium enterprises? Because usually when we talk economic investment, looking at it comes more cash, but yeah,
it's a multi-sectoral meeting.
Okay.
You meet everybody. You're gonna meet the investors, the financiers, the farmers, the buyers, the sellers, the manufacturers. Everybody who is relevant in the economic chain ought to be there to hear, listen, and go back home with something to think about going forward. The goal is to ensure that we rev up the economic activities in River State, and through that ensure greater prosperity for our people.
So it's more like a town hall meeting.
If you call it that, economic town hall meeting, you call it a summit, you call it a forum, whatever name you want to call it, the most important thing is that we are going to see eyeball to eyeball with those who make things happen, those who have sectoral experiences, those who have had forensic experience in business and economy, and to look at the situation in River State and help us find the direction forward.
Now, I've got a very interesting question. I think it's interesting for me. What sectors do you think we should focus on that will enable investment and the economy thrive? Because you said it's a multi-sectoral meeting and that farmers, everybody should come. But then I'm thinking many a times the people in the various communities who are farming are the ones who sometimes are responsible for how the economy can grow. The people who are trading, the market women, sometimes they play so major a role that we don't really take into consideration, right? So what sectors, let's start from there. What sectors do you think are very important to allow economy and investment thrive in River State?
Well, sometimes the temptation always is to look at the big giants, as the economic players.
Okay.
But like you said, if you look at the medium scale and the small scale entrepreneurs, they also have their role to play. They feed the bigger giants,
True.
so to speak.
True.
And as it were, every one of them is required to be there and also profit from the experience they will garner in their participation in the summit. But coming to the issue of what we should be looking at the summit is going to be divided into 8 panels. We have 8 panels, so to speak, and each of these panels will have specific issues to address, as it were. And we have also developed thematic areas, as it were, for each of the 8 panels. We'll have inclusive education and technology. So that will look at leveraging education and technology for youth, as well as women empowerment, because we believe that in all that we do, education must be given a prime position.
Okay.
If we must start growth development of a people, and Rivers State doesn't want to be left out, as it were. Manufacturing and industrialization is key. Beyond the subsistence level, for instance, in agriculture, we need to have agro-based industries. We have, for instance, the cassava factory has not just producing the cassava flour, you also look at the ash count and things like that. But the local person in the village, all do, for instance, is get gari or get the cassava, the pounded cassava.
The fufu, we just call it Rivers people.
Yes. But the processed cassava in a proper situation, has potential for quite a lot of things, as it were. So you now go to, for instance, you also go to the oil palm business. I come from Elele, so we do a lot of it around there, and I'm sure some parts of River State as well. You now see that what the local person simply gets is just the red palm oil. But if you go to a company like SEAT that is doing so well there, you will see that they have a huge line of products, that they get out from that processing of the palm produce, as it were. And these things are exported. And once you export, you earn foreign exchange, and
sure.
that's a big deal, as it were. So this is one of the things we intend to raise the consciousness of Rivers people in this. If they go into just sit and they I'm running fast enough, I have to do something like that. So that will continue to the left side. Ease of doing business, very important. To be able to smoothen the rough edges, when it comes to putting the template for doing business, to enable you get the kind of result that you require, to move forward. We're also going to look at infrastructure development and renewable energy. Renewable energy appears to be the new direction now, as it were. Yes, we are still running on the oil and gas template, but a lot of thoughts, are drifting towards the use of renewable energy, clean energy, solar power, as it were. The cost of running a petrol economy, diesel economy is taking a great toll, even in prices of goods and services, as we know today, and all that. So we will look at the alternative options open to us. What are other countries doing? What are other states doing? We have a huge deposit of gas in River State. So why can't we tap into all of those to be able to secure a cheaper source of energy? During the dry season, sunlight is unimaginable, and so solar energy comes in handy there. How are we going to do that? Is it possible that somebody can come to River State and set up a solar energy production plant here in Port Harcourt? And if that happens, then it will be a goal for every one of us. So that will also be looked at during the summit. Then the blue economy. Blue economy is the in thing, and because